DreAllDay.com.
Can't do any better than tuning into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all of this, give you a little bit more. How about the personal initiative that moves you, me, everybody out there to become go-getters? That means going and making things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one package. What you get is the mindset, the method, the philosophy, the book, the show, known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is nobody cares about you. Yes, that's the topic here today. Nobody cares about you. Well, I mean, maybe that's not 100% true. There are some people out there who care about you. I mean, maybe your parents, maybe your grandmom, your significant other, your kids, possibly your siblings, any brothers or sisters, maybe a cousin or two, maybe a couple of your close friends give a damn about you. The people who really care about you in life, you could probably count them on your hands. You have 10 fingers, you could probably count the people who really care about you just on your hands. You won't even have to take your shoes off. You won't need to use your toes. The people who truly care about you, that's it. Maybe 10, probably fewer. Everybody else, they don't give a fuck about you. That's today's topic. All right, today you will not only understand why this is, but you will also understand what to do with this knowledge. Does it seem kind of harsh? Yeah, I mean, life is harsh. Does it seem cold? Life is cold. But today you'll understand exactly why, and you'll understand what to do about it. All right, this is not a doom and gloom episode. I don't think I'll do doom and gloom here on this show, but you will understand this truth about life that you need to come to grips with, not only logically. I'm going to explain this in a logical, practical way, but you need to understand it not only in that way, because you also need to understand it emotionally. The reason why understanding it practically and logically won't be enough is because, listen, you understand a whole lot of things practically and logically, yet you do nothing with the information. And all of us human beings, we all do this. We understand things on a practical level, like, man, you know what? I really need to do that thing. You know, it really makes sense if I would do that. You know, it would be smart if I stopped doing it this way and started doing it that way. We all have that conversation, either out loud with ourselves, out loud with other people, when we get information from somebody, from a book, a podcast, a speaker on some stage somewhere, somebody giving us information or advice. We all say these things to ourselves, like, you know what, that makes sense. I should do it that way. I should do this. I should change this. But then we don't actually do anything. The reason why is because we understand things on a logical level. Understanding things logically is like consciously knowing something. You would be surprised, or maybe not, at how many people come to me and say, you know, I like what you said here on the podcast. You know, I kind of already knew that. And then they go on and say whatever it is they want to say. I don't know why people tell me what they already know. Listen, I know that you know a whole lot of stuff, but how many things are you actually doing? See, when you actually are doing something, that means you understand at a deeper level than consciously. When we consciously know things, we store it away, we appreciate it. We may even write something positive about it or say something good about it to the person who told us, but we don't actually do anything. We understand things on an emotional level, on a subconscious level. That's when we actually do something. If you want to move a person to action, you cannot appeal just to their conscious thoughts, their logical understandings of things. You got to get into their subconscious. They got to understand things at a level deeper than just, okay, I get it, I know it. All right, today's topic, again, nobody giving a fuck about you. I want you to understand this not just logically and practically, because you may appreciate it and laugh at it and say, you know, that was pretty good. But unless you understand it emotionally, you're going to do nothing. So hopefully, as I get into these points, you will understand this on a deeper level at which you will actually do something with the information. Point number one, today's topic, once again, nobody cares about you. Number one, most people who quote, like, close quote you, they like what, it's not you personally that they like. Right? People who say that they like you, they don't really like you. You know what they like? They like what they can get from you. They like what they can get with you. And they like what they can get through you. They don't really like you, the individual person. They don't really care about you. If there wasn't anything they could get from you, with you, or through you, they wouldn't give a damn about you. Okay? They use you for what they can get from you. So most of the people who you think are your friends or your fans or your tribe or your audience or your movement or whatever it is you got going on, the people you hang with, the people you give a kiss on the cheek when you see them, you give them a hug and they say hi to you and you shake their hands and they got y'all the patented handshakes that you do. Most of those people do not really like you as a person. They just like what they get when they're around you or through you or from you. They use you because you're convenient to be used for whatever they're getting. All right, and I want you to understand something. This point that I just made, this does not make people bad. All right, so I don't want you to take this point and start thinking, damn, the whole world is against me. Everybody's just using me. People don't really like me. People are just trying to get what they can get out of me or what they can get when they're associated with me or get what they can get through me. Even though everything I said is true, I don't want you to take it as a bad thing about life. And let me tell you why you shouldn't take it as a bad thing, even though it's 100% true. Because it applies to you too. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about you too. You don't like most of the people who you like. Most of the people you call friends, you don't really like them. The reason you like them is because maybe when you're around them, you can have a good time, you can have a laugh or two, or when you two are together, maybe people like to see you and that person as a group or as a team, or maybe they know somebody that you don't know, so they can help you get into a place that you couldn't get into yourself. Maybe they have access to something that you don't have. Maybe they have some knowledge that is valuable and beneficial to you, so you like talking to them because you always learn something. Maybe there's something that you get through that person, as I just explained. Maybe they have access, they have some information. Maybe it's something you get from that person. They have something to offer that you can only get from them, or maybe you just like the way that you get it from that person, but it's not them personally that you like. If those things didn't exist, you wouldn't give a damn about that person at their core, who they actually are. You don't care. You use that person or those people for what you can get through your association, whatever it happens to be, with that individual / those individuals. You are as guilty of this as everyone else is guilty of it. So if you ever felt like a person was only dealing with you because of what they could get out of you, I want to let you know it's true. That's exactly why they were dealing with you. Because they knew they could get something out of you, not because they actually gave a damn about you. And I want you to understand this too. There have been just as many times in life that you felt that way about somebody else, that somebody else felt that way about you. And I know you think, oh no, not me. And maybe everybody else, but not me. Listen, everybody would say that. This is the same way that everybody says they know a narcissist, yet nobody admits to being one. All of us do this. People you claim to like, you don't actually like. Most of them. The people that you really care about in life, the same way I told you that the people that care about you, you can count them on your fingers. The people that you really care about, you can count on your fingers. Yeah, I know you follow 2,000 people on Instagram. You don't like all 2,000 people. Maybe 10 of those people you give a damn about. If something really happened to them, you would really care. I mean, really care. How many people out there do you know or know of that you really give a fuck about? How many? You can name them. You don't have to open your phone and go through your contacts to figure out who they are. You know who they are. All right, these are the first people you thought of when I asked that question. Those are the people. That's it. If you didn't think of them in the last 30 seconds, they're not on the list. Or they didn't make the cut. And that's all right, because you probably didn't make their cut either. That's what it is, okay? It's probably not as many people as you think it is. If you got, let's say the cops just broke into your house right now, or to your school or your office, wherever you are right now, stopped you in your car, stopped you on the street. Let's say they just grabbed you, like 6 cops just came pointing guns at you, told you get on the ground, locked you up, didn't tell you why, took you to jail, and told you, all right, you can get out, but you got to call somebody to come get you. Somebody got to come get you out of this jail right now. Don't even cost any money, but they got to come get you. I mean, they got to leave work, they got to leave their job, they got to leave the game that they're about to play in, they got to leave their bed, they got to leave the convenient situation that they're in right now and come get you in the middle of the day to save you from this bogus charge that the cops have you on. How many people do you know who would actually come get you right now? I mean, they would drop whatever they're doing and come get you. How many? So you see what I mean? See, it's easy to say that you like somebody or you love somebody or they're your homeboy or your homegirl or your BFF or your day one or whatever phrases people are using these days to describe somebody that they claim to really give a damn about. It's easy to say it when you're just talking about it, but when I pose you that scenario, how many people could you call on? How many people would you even think to call for that? probably fewer than 10, might not even be 5, who you would even think of calling and asking to come do that for you. How many people will call you in that situation? How many people, if they had to make a call, you be the person they call? Let's say they get 3 calls. All right, so you got to be one of the first 3 people they think, first of all, think of, and secondly, think would actually do it. How many people will call on you, have you in their top 3? Not too many. It's interesting, isn't it? I want you to marinate on that one for a minute. How many people would you leave your job to come get? How many people would you leave a game? You're about to go play in a game. You play a sport. You would miss the game to go get that person out because you knew it was an emergency for them. How many? It's just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. It's a cold, harsh world out this bitch. You will either play the game or you will get played. But understand, you're already playing the game and you're already getting played, but not in a bad way. This is just what it is. Let's move on to point number 2. I want you to think on point number 1 a little bit more, but then you can pause this right now as we move on to point number 2. The topic again today is nobody cares about you. So now that we laid the foundation, now that I've explained to you in a way that you can envision for yourself that not only do not too many people give a damn about you, but also you don't give a damn about that many people either, despite appearances of what we see on social media or how people project themselves to be with other people when they're around. Now that we got the cold, harsh truth out there, how do you get ahead in life then? How can you, in this world that we're all human, right? We are social animals, and there needs to be some socializing going on for people to get ahead. People who become wildly successful in life usually do so through having positive associations with a whole lot of people. Doesn't mean they have to love you. Doesn't mean you have to love them. They don't even have to like you. They can pretend to like you, but they see some benefit from dealing with you, and you get some benefit from dealing with them. That's how somebody can become successful. You don't have to love and like them. Just there's a mutual benefit, and that's the reason why everybody keeps working together. Listen, how many of you right now work at a job or run a business where there's some people who work there that you don't really fuck with them like that. You don't really like them. You definitely don't love them. You would not call them if you needed an emergency, and they damn sure wouldn't call you, but you keep working with that person because there's some mutual benefit in the relationship. You get something, they get something, and it's good enough. As long as they're getting something, you're getting something, y'all will keep doing it, even though y'all don't really fuck with each other like that. I'm sure you have some relationships in your life that fit that description. I got plenty of relationships in my life that fit that description. It's not a bad thing. I'm not mad at those people. They ain't mad at me. They get something, I get something, everybody's good. Okay, so you become successful through these mutually beneficial relationships. In yesterday's episode, I just sold you on my people skills course, which if you didn't hear about is at workonmygame.com/people. So go read about what you get in the people skills course and why it matters and why I created it and all of that. So dealing with other people who you may not love, you may not even like, and you don't even have to pretend to, is a part of life. Okay, so how do you get ahead? Knowing this. With things being as harsh as I just explained in point number 1, and everybody acting in their own self-interest for the most part, as if you didn't know, you should know. And if you didn't know that, I suggest you read some Niccolo Machiavelli. I suggest you read some Robert Greene. They both talk about this in detail, understanding that damn near everything people do is based on their own self-interest, is not based on liking you or giving a damn about you in any way, shape, or form. And that applies to you as well. Here's what you do. All right, I'm gonna tell you what to do, how to get ahead in life, despite the fact that all this cold, harsh shit that I've been giving you here today. Here's what you do. Make what you do valuable to other people's self-interest. That's it. That sentence right there. Let me say the sentence one more time, then I'm gonna tell you where this sentence can be applied. Here it is. Make what you do valuable to other people's self-interest. Make it serve the self-interest of other people. Your actions, your presence. Now I want you to understand something. That sentence right there is the only thing you need to understand if you're trying out for a sports team and you want to make the team. Because see, it's not about what you get that the coach cares. The coach doesn't care about what you get. The coach cares about what he or she gets. Coach wants good players. The coach wants to win games. The coach wants players who are coachable, who will listen to what the coach is saying. So if you show, that's the coach's self-interest. So if you show yourself to be in those categories, a player who's good, a player who listens, a player who can help win games, a player who is coachable, then the coach will want you on the team. Not because of you personally, but because you are showing the coach that what you bring to the table serves the coach's self-interest. I guarantee you'll make the team if you do those things. Every coach listening to this, am I wrong? If I'm wrong, let me know. If you want to get a job, what's the self-interest of the person who's hiring? You may not know the self-interest of the person who's hiring, so you may need to do some research before you go to that job interview. You may need to find out as much as you can about the hiring manager or the person who's going to be interviewing you. You may need to learn how to ask the right questions so you can get some information that most of the other interviewees wouldn't get. There's a book I would suggest you read that will help you for this. It's called Never Split the Difference by a guy named by the name of Chris Voss. He works for the FBI in the hostage negotiation department. Read that book, and he'll tell you some things that'll help you ask the right type of questions and listen properly so you can get certain information and find out what another person's self-interest is. You imagine somebody who takes a bunch of hostages in a bank and they got a gun to the bank teller's head and they're saying, give me $1 million or I'm killing everybody in here, and you got to talk that person out of doing that and get them arrested without anybody getting murdered. I think that guy is pretty good at figuring out another person's self-interest. How about you? Read the book and you'll understand. I'm telling you that to tell you this. If you're trying to get a job, nobody gives a damn about you getting the job. They don't care that you need a job. Y'all saw that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith? When at the end he finally gets that job interview and he starts telling them how he's going to be the hardest worker and he's going to figure everything out, and it's all sappy at the end, and that it sounds like that's why he got the job, because he gave this great motivational, inspirational talk about how he was going to work so hard if they hired him. They didn't give a fuck about how hard Will Smith was going to work. You know why they hired him? Because he served their self-interest. All right, maybe he helped them, hit the affirmative action quota. Maybe because he was black, maybe because he showed that he actually knew the material, because you had to pass the test to get that job, right? He passed the test and showed that he was actually good. They talked to him and he spoke well. He presented himself well, despite the fact that he didn't have a ton of experience and maybe his suit was a little bit shabby, but he presented himself as a professional type of guy. He had a professional mindset, even though he might not have been the shiniest person who ever walked into that office. He was serving their self-interest, all right? They wasn't running no charity. That was a business they were running. If you want someone to have a favorable opinion of you, and or you want someone to do something that will help you, do not talk about what you get out of the situation, because they don't give a fuck about what you get. They care about what they get. If you can talk about what they get, then you can sell something. If you have a product or a service that you want to sell online or in person, stop talking about yourself. Don't use the words I, me, my, us, we, because people don't care about you. Talk about them. Use the words you and yours, because now you're speaking their language instead of speaking your language. Because what are we already talking about? Point number one, people don't care about you anyway. You might think they care about you because they're listening to you, or because they're following you, or because they liked your picture, because they commented on your video, or they sent you an email. They don't really care about you. They care about what they can get through, with, and from you. And that's all right. It's all right for people to get things through, with, and from you, as long as you're getting something too. Just learn how to speak the language. And again, in my people skills course, I'll help you out with this. I'm gonna give you that key sentence again. And this is a sentence you can take with you everywhere you go in life. And this will help you get anything that you want. You get anything you want from anybody you want, as long as you keep this sentence in your mind. Here it is one more time. Make what you do serve the self-interest of other people. When you serve somebody else's self-interest, they will do whatever you want them to do, if you serve their self-interest. If what you do matters, now we're moving on. All right, I'm not gonna keep saying that sentence. If what you do matters to other people, they have no choice but to value your presence and to meet your demands, as it's tied to them. See, if what I'm doing is helping you, you have no choice but to value my presence and to meet my demands, because whatever I'm doing is helping you out. So you'll go along with whatever I'm saying has to be done because it works for you, because it makes sense for you. If I like McDonald's fries a whole lot, then I'm going to go along with what McDonald's says. McDonald's says it's $3.29 for these fries. I'm willing to give up my $3.29 because I like those fries that much and I know I can't get them anywhere else. I'm all right with giving up the money to get them. That's how it works. Seth Godin wrote a book called Lynchpin, and he talks about this in a much more, I don't even know the word to use, not such a harsh way, not in such a Machiavellian way, and more of a more of a straight line type of way. The book again is called Linchpin by Seth Godin. What the book is about is becoming the person within an organization that is so valuable. You're serving the self-interest of so many different people in so many different ways that you become the most valuable person in the organization, even if you're at the lowest level of the workforce. Read that book. Robert Greene, in the book 48 Laws of Power, he talks about keeping people dependent on you. This is the way to stay in power in life. You want power, you got to have some way, people need to need you. If people get to the point where they got everything they can get out of you and they no longer need you, then you have no power. Power is influence. Influence is how you're able to control in some way the actions, thoughts, ideas, movements, words of other people. If you can't do that, if you have no influence, it's probably because you have no power. If you have no power, it's because nothing you do affects another person's self-interest. Read the book, The 48 Laws of Power. Play to people's needs and keep them needing you. As long as people need you, you have power, you have influence, and you can get what you want to get out of life. Again, those of you who think that sounds harsh, let's not suggest you read Machiavelli, read Seth Godin, read Robert Greene, so you understand that this is not something that I'm not just making this up. This has always existed, so you should be happy that I'm providing this to you now instead of you having to go learn it out in the school of hard knocks called life. Point number 3. Today's topic is nobody cares about you. So now, all this being said, we talked about here today, here's what I want you to do. Here's your call to action. Accept that you are more on your own in life than you even thought you were. You are more by yourself, and you have less help or less shoulders to lean on than you thought you did. But this is not reason for alarm. This is not a reason to feel bad. This is not a reason to feel afraid and naked and soft and vulnerable. This actually should help you feel liberated, because you are, with this knowledge, more free than you thought you were. You thought you had to please this person and that person and get along with them over there and stay cool with these people over here in order to get on in life. But now, you don't have to do that anymore. Why? Because as I already told you, they don't give a fuck about you anyway. And you don't give a fuck about them, so you can stop pretending that you do. You can put down a charade and you can do what you need to do in such a way that it serves other people's interests, so you get what you want, they get what they want, and everybody's happy about it. Now, that's the way that life works anyway. Anything else that you see from people is all just a show, is all just fakery, and is all by people who didn't understand the concepts that I shared with you here today. But see, now you are in that 1% who does. And as this message spreads, that hopefully the 1% gets bigger and everybody starts to understand this. Actually, we don't want everybody to understand it. Some people just need to stay in the dark. All right? We need, as I talked about maybe a month ago, we need the average to remain average. All right? There's some average people who just need to stay where they are because that's who they want to be. So the 1% is never going to become 100%. But whoever's in this group, I mean, you can invite the people who you think may be interested in joining, if they're ready to hear the cold, harsh truth about what's going on. Everybody ain't ready for it, despite what they say. So let's recap today's topic, which is nobody cares about you. Maybe your parents, maybe your significant other, possibly your kids, your siblings, and a couple of close friends. But you can count on your hands the people who truly care about you. Everybody else does not give a fuck. Today, you will not only understand why, but also what to do with it. Number one, most of the people who quote like, close quote you, they like what they can get from you, with you, through you, by being associated with you. They don't like you as a person. All right? They like what they get from you. And this doesn't make anybody bad because it applies to you too. You don't like most of the people you claim to like. All right? How many people, if they got locked up and they called you and said you got to leave your job or leave your school or get out of bed right now in the middle of the night or leave the game that you're about to play in and come save me because you're the only person I can call on, how many people would you actually leave to go help? Probably you can count them on one hand the number of people you would actually go help. And how many people would you even think of calling on if you were in that situation? Probably not as many as you think they were. All right, just the facts. It's a cold, harsh world out here. You either play the game or you get played. Point number 2, how do you get ahead then? Very simple. Make what you do valuable to the self-interest of other people. As long as you serve other people's self-interest, you will always have value because people will need you. People need those who serve their interests. If you are serving other people's interests, people will always need you. As soon as you stop serving the interests of anybody, then you become nobody. That's pretty much the way that it works. I suggest you read Linchpin by Seth Godin, Read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power and Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature, and also The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Point number 3, accept that you are more on your own in life than you even thought you were. This is not reason for you to be alarmed, it's liberating. You are more free than you ever thought you were. You thought you had to please a whole lot of people to get on in life, but now you can stop because they don't care about you anyway, and you don't care about them, so stop pretending. All right, you don't have to pretend. As long as you're serving somebody's interest or somebody else is serving your interest, there will always be mutual benefit. People will do what they got to do to get along. Even if they don't really like you, they'll keep doing what they got to do because you're serving them in some way. As long as you're serving, you will be valuable. As simple as that. People skills course, workonmygame.com/people. Work on your game. Dre all day.